All right, in 3, 2, 1.
This is the podcast.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
podcast.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Movies. That's Get to the Movies with the number 2. My name is Tiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
And we're taking you back to the 80s.
The way back. Yeah, boy.
The best decade ever.
Yeah,
Best of the best.
Neil found these series of documentaries coming out that we hadn't heard of, but it's these 3 documentaries. They all start with In Search Of. So it's In Search of Tomorrow, which is all 80s sci-fi. In
Correct.
Search of the Last Action Heroes, which is all action stars from the 80s.
Yep.
And then In Search of Darkness.
Darkness.
No, I said
Oh,
Tomorrow.
sorry.
He said Tomorrow
In Search of
first.
Darkness, which is all the horror movies from the 80s.
Yeah.
And each of these, I mean, the montages and the clips they use for these trailers, just you watch it and you're
It's
like,
all
I fucking
goodness.
love that era. I don't know what to tell you. Like that, the 80s era of film in all these different genres was so coked out, like
Yeah.
crazy
Well, it's
and
like-
just fun. I don't know. There's something
Yeah.
about it.
But
that-
it's all grounded too. It's
Yeah.
like real shit. Like they
Yeah.
built a physical thing that
Practical
you see.
effects.
It's all
Practical
practical
effects,
effects.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like
But it was nothing. It's not anything like what was in the 90s onwards. It was not anything like
Yeah.
what was the 70s
Yeah.
and before it. It was specific to the 80s. And yes, there's a little overlap into like early 90s, but like there was a very specific decade.
Yeah.
With companies like Canon Films getting involved in a lot of those
Orion
different genres.
Pictures.
Yeah,
Orion Pictures.
yeah.
It's like the Wild West of Hollywood. Like
yeah.
anyone
New
can make
Line
a movie.
Cinema.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the ultimate almost indie within studios, like indie studios, these mini studios.
Yeah.
But I think we should kind of just go through each one of them. We start with...
How do you go through each one of them?
Well, the
Did
one
you
that's-
see
the
the
one-
collage
I
of
know.
goodness?
We're sitting there just trying to name all the movies. As
It's
they're,
like
flashing on the
literally
screen.
somebody walking to a candy store and say, "Here, choose one."
Here's all your
Well, the
favorite.
one that I'm currently super excited for is Into Darkness, which is supposed to come
In
out
Search of
in
Darkness.
September this year.
In Search of Darkness,
In
yeah.
Search of Darkness,
Yeah.
yeah.
supposed to come
And
out in
they've
September?
already interviewed over 40 people and like connected to all these like classic horror films from the 80s. Yeah, in September.
Well, this episode is dropping in September, so I guess maybe it'll be out by the time.
yeah,
people
it
are
might
listening.
be out then. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Yeah.
feel like they haven't given an exact date, and I think they're just like in the final editing type thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's going to be. I was just looking on their Indiegogo. It's like there's going to be like a 3-hour version because I guess it's going to have all the interviews
Yeah.
and everything they did.
I'll do a 3-hour
Like
version.
Elvira's in there,
I
and I was
know.
like, oh fuck, I completely forgot about
Yeah.
Elvira.
Peterson, what's her name? Catherine Peterson or something like that.
Yeah.
She looks nothing like Elvira. Like, have you ever
Yeah.
seen her without her Elvira costume on?
Yeah.
She's totally different.
And
Mistress
she's
of
just-
Darkness or whatever.
It's funny because she's like talking about the movie she did, the Elvira movie, and like it's just I love that kind of thing of seeing like a montage of all your
Yeah.
kind of like favorite or movies you remember
Yeah.
as a kid that were like these horror movies, and then to see the actors talk about what it was like making that movie, and if they had like the studio saying you can do this, you can't do that. And they're
Yeah.
like, no, the studio didn't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah.
we just did whatever the fuck we wanted.
Right.
Like that's
And
so
the
crazy.
horror
Like you
films
couldn't
were,
do
like,
that now.
They're horror, but at the same time, they're so campy in a way that they're fun and entertaining at the same
Right.
time. Whereas
Yeah.
horror these days is not really fun. They're just like insane. They're good. They're really
They're
good.
like
at what they
realistic.
do.
It depends.
They don't, but for the most part,
Like you haven't seen Cabin in the Woods yet. That's a
I
fun
haven't.
movie.
I thought it.
Yeah,
was
but
a
they have
fun
a lot
movie.
more grounded
That's
realism
what I'm saying.
to
There's a
them
difference.
today.
Even
Yeah.
it
And-
was really fun and
Yeah.
funny, and
Yeah.
Get Out.
But
had
that's Stephen
elements of
King,
it,
though.
but-
Even that book came out in the 80s or whatever.
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
it's
so
just
it
that
has
in
that 80s feel.
in the 80s,
And it takes place in the 80s.
yeah, in the 80s, I feel that horror films and a lot of the films, there were a style of fakeness to them that was
Yeah.
accepted, and you wanted, and you watched it, and you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
and
Right,
It
it
was
wa-
fun. Like today, like previous episodes when we talk about CGI, we kind of don't. We talk about how we didn't enjoy a certain aspect of it. Where in the 80s, like that monster looked fake, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome, you know? So
Yeah.
and like I don't know. That's my thought with the respect to the 80s is that you knew it wasn't real, but you expected and you wanted it to be real, that you just enjoyed the film.
Yeah. Yeah, like I watched
You just stared
Escape
at
Room.
me, Nick, the whole time. Did you understand?
I zoned out. I was just thinking of all the different movies in the 80s.
Yeah,
that's
I was
hard.
literally
It's amazing.
daydreaming about it.
Trailer
I
is-
started daydreaming
It's
about
awesome.
them.
It made you feel like
Yeah.
literally when you watch the trailer, it made you feel like watching every single film
Yep.
again.
I started thinking of
Yeah.
like Friday the 13th movies and then Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
And I was just like in the element, like the frame of mind you have to get in when you're watching those movies is just so different
Yeah.
like, than anything else,
But
any
what's
other horror
funny is
film you watch.
There are so many films that came out that haven't even made it into like the next generation of like digital. Like they haven't even been digitized yet.
Yeah.
There are films
Yeah.
that you can only get, on maybe VHS, maybe.
Right.
And then films that are just lost. So
Yep.
like they're in some studio or in
Yeah.
some warehouse in the Midwest somewhere
Yeah.
because whatever. It like flopped at the time, didn't make any money, and only people who were there to see it in theaters saw it. And you're never going to,
Yeah.
unless somebody makes a campaign about restoring that movie. This
happens. The
a
movies
lot.
with cult followings, like Rad. Rad still doesn't have a Blu-ray or even a
They
DVD
probably don't
release.
have the original.
There's something about it. There's something about it. And they didn't even use crazy music, so it's not really shouldn't be related to the music. They didn't use any.
But it
sort
could
of,
be
like-
that they just don't have the original
Well, we
master.
had the director
to
on here, right? And
digitize.
he didn't want to talk about it.
No, we had the main
actor.
star, Bill Allen. Yeah, I know he didn't want to talk about it. We were like trying to get it, and he's like, "Let's not talk about that."
Let's not talk
and I'm
about
like, "God damn it, tell me the politics."
And he
Yeah,
basically
it's
said that
gotta be
because he
weird.
wanted one.
Yeah, he does. It sounds like there's some sort of contention on something. But yeah, no, these things are like, and that's why I love this. It's not just all the obvious stuff, the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Street, the Halloween.
actors.
It's like all of the B movie. It even had like Attack of the Killer Clowns in there. It had all these. The Howling was in there. You had.
Oh, I love the Howling.
Yeah,
Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet was in there. Monster Squad.
Texas Chainsaw
Texas
1 and 2.
Chainsaw,
They
yeah.
talk about Poltergeist, Toby Hooper.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They show the scene yet too. Awesome.
Yeah, and it's got like all the people. What looks great about these documentaries beyond just the clips, they're basically going and finding all the film. Kind of what we try to
like
do when
people
we
that
get these
were
interviews.
worked on the films.
Yeah, when we do these
Actors.
interviews where we kind of try to find the people that were directors and actors and writers,
Yeah.
they're going and finding all the filmmakers, the people who created those at the time.
Yeah.
Like Tom Holland, who directed the first Child's Play movie.
Yeah.
Not Spider-Man, the other Tom Holland. These guys are
Right.
older. But like they interview him, and they had the kid that played Sean, Andre Gower, from Monster Squad in
Yeah.
there. And they're literally Cassandra Peterson, who played Elvira, and all the writers and the directors, and they're going back, and the visual artists.
It's literally a love letter to
Yeah,
the 80s.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the makeup artists and the costumers, like the makeup guys, because it was all practical effects back then.
They were the stars.
Yeah.
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 They literally was. And it talks about in this film how they were the actual like main actors of the film was the makeup artists, the practical effect people.
Yeah.
Because if you look at any of those like robots or costumes or anything, they had to be so well done that because they were a primary actor within the film.
Yep.
Right.
And like I said, it looks and it makes you feel like you're just automatically going to enjoy this movie. Even Toxic Avenger, it's just incredible.
Which wasn't in
Yeah.
there, was it? Toxic
It wasn't
Avenger?
in-
I didn't see
it
it.
wasn't
Was
in-
it?
it
Was in
wasn't
there? Oh
in-
no, it was. Yeah. I
Yeah.
saw Toxic Avenger, and I was like, yes.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm sure
that's-
that they were able to dig up, some of these. It's one of these things where they probably reached out to like hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And then got people and probably had the schedule flying out or flying them out. And
Right.
because the guy's in the UK, the director or the
Yeah, he's a British
YouTuber
guy.
who's doing all this stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I wonder if he flew to them, set
I'm sure
up
he
on a
did
green
whatever he
screen
could
or
do.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like they shot in person. It doesn't look like they, was like not like a Skype interview or something.
Yeah. I saw Day of the Dead in there. Now, what is that one clip? I feel like I know it. It's
Where
not,
all the
it's-
hands
it's not
bust through the
thing-
wall?
No, that's Day of the Dead. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Day of the Dead. I
Okay.
saw that one. But no, there was the thing where the guy. I know this movie, and I don't think it's the thing, but it's. He's working on the guy who looks like he's dead in a morgue or whatever.
And his hands go.
and then it becomes a
chest
big
opens
jaw.
up.
Yeah, and it becomes a big like
It's
jaw.
the thing.
It is the thing,
John
right?
Carpenter's
Yeah.
the
That's what I
thing,
thought
yeah.
it was. I was like, is
Yeah.
that the thing?
And it like bites his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I was trying to remember why that was a big mouth. I'm trying to.
Because of the thing
But the thing was very. It wasn't.
No, the thing.
The whole
That
thing-
whole movie is
it's
like
about
It takes
this-
different form. Like it's not
No,
always
it's-
the same.
it's-
it can change like in a split
Yeah,
second.
I know it's the
like
dog
you could have a
on
guy
one.
that looks like a
So the
person,
whole
and then his
premise
chest
of-
just
yeah.
opens up.
That's
and
right.
he
Well,
grows
Well, so
like
the whole premise of that Alien was the fact that
Yeah.
it was trying to recreate human form.
Yeah.
Right.
And everything was an attempt.
But to
And
escape.
No,
It was trying to- it was trying to
it was
essentially-
trying to
the
mimic
Norwegian guys were trying to
the
kill
best
him,
one, yeah.
which he's the dog in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right, the dog
The thing is
shows
the dog,
up, and the
right,
Norwegian is like flying in a helicopter shooting at this
Yes,
dog,
that's how it
and
starts.
then
Movie
he ends up
starts.
shooting one of the guys, and then they shoot back at the Norwegian, and then the
No,
Norwegian
they don't kill
pulls
him.
a
They
pin
kill
and like
him.
throws a grenade and drops
Yeah.
it in the snow, and he's like, "Oh fuck it!" and it
Yeah.
blows up, and
That's right.
he dies. Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's the whole thing. It's a whole alien was just trying to mimic human form. That was
Yeah.
the whole.
Well, it's
premise
a
of the
remake
film.
of a 1950s movie
The Thing
called "The Thing from
from
Another World,"
Another World,
yeah.
which is actually a solid movie, but the creature is like just a guy in a suit walking around like Swamp Thing or something.
But I really did like. I mean, the thing I definitely say I just couldn't. That scene, I was like, I feel like that is the thing, but then I couldn't place where that
Yeah.
was in the full
Oh,
narrative.
dude,
of the
I
film.
watch that movie all the time. It's
Yeah,
like one of
I've
my
seen it way
I have it on
go-to
Blu-ray.
movies.
I
I've
love
seen it a couple times. I rewatched it again a few months
It's
ago.
one of those movies I can watch, even though it's a like graphic ass movie, but I can just watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Do you think the Thing was still alive at the end and was one of the guys? Was it Keith?
Yeah,
David?
apparently that was like so
'Cause
that
the
just
no
came
steam
up.
coming out of his mouth as they're sitting there in the
Oh
snow.
yeah, there was
There's
some
no
theory
steam
I
coming
saw
out of his mouth?
recently where
Yeah.
they were saying like that
John
what's his
Carpenter
name?
answered this question more than once, but he's almost like contradicted himself each time as to what happens at the end there.
Well, what's his name? Keith David was not one, right? It was what's
I
his
think it
name?
was
Who
Keith-
was the
no,
thing?
Keith
Kurt
David.
Russell.
I think the idea was Keith David was because he was the one that didn't have steam. I think it was Keith David because Kurt Russell was just Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
I think it
Was this something that
Keith
John
David.
Carpenter said?
Yeah, John Carpenter's answered the question a couple different times, but he's like contradicted himself. I think.
I just like the idea that one of them is,
Yeah.
and that you don't know, and
You
it
don't know,
ends,
and it
and it's a
ends.
mystery.
Yeah, but I think if you watch it, Keith David has no steam coming out of his mouth, but they're in the snow, and Kurt Russell does, or
Yeah.
vice versa. But I think it's Keith David, and so like that's weird. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
You should watch the
Yeah.
making of that.
I should.
movie
You know, I
and,
wanted to
like,
watch the
filming
prequel
on
that came out too,
location.
just for interest alone.
Oh yeah, it's worth watching. It's not.
It's weird they call it the same exact movie title, but it's just a prequel to it. But
It is cool because it's like the Norwegians
yeah,
side
right
of what
before
happened,
what
but it's,
leads up to that.
It's
scene.
all CG. Like there's no practical like.
Yeah.
And the thing, it's like this. There was like a guy who was responsible for making everything in that fucking
Yeah.
in that movie, and it's like you just when you see the interviews of this guy, and he's like, this guy was like losing his mind trying to
Right.
create all, and he's just building shit out of nothing. It's
Right.
like, oh, I'm gonna create this thing, and then the head's gonna stretch, and then it's gonna. The skin will snap, and then all the
So
tentacles
crazy.
are hanging
Yeah.
out and squirting goo everywhere.
It's all
He had to
practical.
build all that shit from scratch.
all practical.
And he had to do like cast moldings of like all
Well,
the
that's
cast
the thing they're
members'
saying, the
faces
dog,
and stuff.
It
like,
is-
it was just
Yeah,
crazy.
the
It's
dog
the-
creature thing is like, ah.
And in this documentary, all the fade outs and fade ins in that movie are also really.
I like that too.
interesting.
Yeah,
But,
it just gives
um,
it a nice vibe.
Yeah, so but in this documentary trailer for In Search of Darkness, they're talking about how everybody was trying to one up the stunts and the practical effects in the other film that came out.
Yeah.
So it was like there was a competition between all of these people trying to go wilder and crazier and insane, and it's
Yeah.
gory and it's
It
nuts.
is.
And it's literally insane, but it's so like for our pleasure. And I love the almost
Exactly.
the lack of laziness, like the actual putting in the work to just be insane and great.
Yeah.
And I love that. There's something about that just feels like they're doing it for us, and there's a work that's being put in. Yeah, but it's the same with the other two documentary trailers as well. The In Search of the Last Action Heroes.
Which
Yes.
looks great. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
that's in like it seemed like it's kind of in the early stages of the Indiegogo thing, and they haven't really announced like a ton of people that
Yeah.
they've interviewed or
Well, they
started to
announced
interview.
a ton of people.
They
but
talked to
didn't
John Carpenter,
sit there.
right? But then maybe
that-
they interviewed him for both.
I would think that they
'Cause
would.
they
If
had-
they've interviewed one actor for the horror one, and then they also did like an action film
Yeah.
that would fall into that, then that makes sense. But
Yeah. 'Cause
it's
they
one-
have Big Trouble in Little China in the trailer. For the
Yeah,
Last
I'm
Action
sure
Heroes,
it's
which
like
is John
a,
Carpenter.
It's like a passion project. So it's one of these things where it's like, you know,
They dropped a lot of names though.
in what the Last Action Hero one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully they can get all these people. That would be fucking
If
amazing.
they could get Stallone
you know,
and Schwarzenegger and Jim Cameron
Yeah.
and
just give me like
John
a half
Carp-
hour with all these guys or an hour with all these guys
Seriously.
and like that, you know, just get a camera set up, have all your questions and just fucking let them roll. Just
Yeah.
like hit them with all
Yeah.
these questions, you know.
Because that was something that was in the 80s, and yeah, there was action in the 90s, but it wasn't the same. There was something about the 80s, like that decade was just. It must
it's
have been
like
something the way the studios behind the scenes were working. Like there's something crazy about how that decade was able to produce all these things.
There was
and the 90s was
Vietnam.
different.
Yeah.
There was Vietnam, which was like televised.
Yeah.
Like that was almost as bad as the movies that were coming out in theaters
Yeah.
15 years later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like a weird time period where people were watching real people be murdered or be killed in warfare,
Yeah.
and then 15 years later it being replicated in Hollywood.
But it was totally entertaining. It wasn't as dark. There was darkness to it, like Lethal Weapon. If you see, it starts with a woman snorting cocaine and jumping to her death.
Yeah,
You know what I
everybody was
mean?
doing
And then-
coke.
Everybody,
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
that movie.
They all had a lot of darkness.
No,
in it.
they
It
were
was just
dark, but at
done
the same
in a
time,
way.
you watch them like Die
Dude,
Hard.
that guitar made it less dark though. It was like
saxophone. Was it saxophone? It was a
Was it
guitar.
guitar?
I always think saxophone in my head. I don't
maybe
know why.
there must be a combo of the two.
There
then.
must be.
Yeah.
I think saxophone was Die Hard.
No.
It was something else.
Yeah, I don't know.
Die
I don't know,
Hard
but-
was more of like kind of like the drums or like horns.
No, I'm thinking his old show. What is it? Moonlighting or something?
Moonlighting. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Bruce Lee's show.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis's show from the '80s. But
Bruce Willis.
all those so
man,
you got
he's getting
Kurt
old.
Russell in there. Yeah, I know.
They got to interview Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But like those, you watch that and I'm like, yeah, I grew up on those films. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Steven Seagal, the Stallone, the Kurt Russell in Tango and Cash and Big Trouble in Little
Rambo.
China and Rambo and
I don't even know how I
Running-
saw Big Trouble in Little China, but like I saw it as a kid, and then years later, somehow it came out on VHS or DVD or something like that. I was like, holy shit, I remember this fucking movie, and I'm like, I don't know how I saw it. I don't remember the first time seeing it, but I know that I saw it,
Yeah.
and it blew my mind because it's so fucking crazy.
it's the most crazy.
It's like such a creative movie. Yeah, it's like bizarre.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I still remember the pickup of the Chinese guy.
Yeah.
the
Kim
Asian guy.
Cattrall.
Yeah,
In the
Kim
beginning,
Cattrall,
and then they drive into that
reporter.
little back alley, and I was always like,
then
"How
the
the fuck
two
did they get
gangs-
a truck in that back alley?"
And the two
Yeah.
gangs come
And
from
the
both
two
sides and
gangs
they're in the middle of a
yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
gang fight in
exactly.
Chinatown.
It was
Exactly.
the Raiden dude. It was like I think I connected like Mortal Kombat and this, even though what came first?
Big Trouble in Little China came. Raiden was based off of those characters from
Wow.
Big Trouble in Little
Exactly.
China.
That's
They've
crazy.
acknowledged that. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I
Yeah.
mean, that movie is
awesome.
batshit, and I love it. I saw it so many times as a kid.
The one dude just swells up and like
at the
blows
end,
up
because
like,
he's like so pissed off they killed his basically his master, his mentor or whatever. So
Yeah.
he's like, okay, I'm just gonna make myself explode. And
Yeah.
they're like, let's get the fuck out of here because this guy's out of his fucking mind.
You know what movie I didn't see in the
What?
trailer, which I was like, The Last Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
that's true. They wasn't.
I would think that would be in there.
Yeah.
Maybe they're focused. Well, the guy did say the YouTuber or whatever who's doing all these. He said these are the films like that impacted him. So I don't know. Maybe he has a specific list of like things that stood out.
I would
to
hope
him.
he would add some of the other ones that are iconic
Yeah.
or have cult.
I had
followings.
never even
Last Dragon.
seen or heard
Last
of Last
Dragon.
Dragon until you showed it to me like a year ago. or
Yeah,
whatever
which
it
is
was.
crazy to me
Yeah.
because I saw
And
that
I loved
again
it.
so many
I
times.
loved
Yeah.
it.
Incredible film.
Isn't
Yeah.
it great when you could find a film from 30 some odd years ago that was really about that time, was like a cult thing from that time that was not necessarily a cinematic masterpiece, but there's something and you actually have
Same
that
with
experience?
Monster Squad.
Yes,
I had
exactly.
never heard of it or seen it, and then you were like, "Dude, how the fuck have you not seen it?" And then I watched it, and I was like, "How? This movie's amazing!"
Yeah, and you're like,
"This
you
is
almost-
like Stranger Things, but
Yeah.
it actually was filmed in the '80s."
Right.
You know?
And you watch it and you go and go, I could see how like I would have loved this, and I love this as
Yeah.
if I'm watching it in the 80s, like as a
And
kid,
this-
like Goonies, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
remember
liked it a lot.
the Last Dragon, the singer? What was her name?
Vanity.
She
was
looked
she was
exactly-
the protege, Prince's protege.
She looked exactly like what's her name? That did the song for the Goonies.
Oh, Cindy. Oh,
Cyndi
no,
Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper. Yeah. No, okay. I thought. I'm sorry. Vanity is his girlfriend in the film, the
cute.
love interest. Yes,
Definitely.
you're talking about the girl who's the
Yeah.
wife of the main bad guy.
Correct.
She
yeah.
looks
The
just like
girlfriend,
Cyndi Lauper.
girlfriend,
Yeah,
She
her
looked
girlfriend,
just like,
right.
and I always thought it was Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah,
Looks
Yeah.
just like her.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
exactly like
And
her.
she's doing music.
and-
She's trying to do music in the movie, and
She
she
sounds
terrible
like
though.
Cyndi Lauper,
But
yeah.
she's like a bad version of Cyndi Lauper. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, I remember. I love that film, man.
That's a great.
Yeah.
What's that?
I gotta tell you something that if I'm talking like black people I know and you haven't seen that film, I'm like, you're not really black. You're lying.
You
to
tell
yourself.
them how they're
Wow.
not black,
No.
Diego.
Yeah.
Let me know how that goes
Yeah.
for you.
And you weren't black until you saw
and
that film.
it's Barry Gordy.
Barry Gordy,
like
Motown
produced it or
fame.
directed it.
He
definitely
produced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
a-
wanted
it's a,
a Michael
solid black
Jackson.
exploitation, but like less black
Yeah.
exploitation.
And
but
after
kind
the
of.
black exploitation
Yeah.
movement had died down.
I just like how the guy is like a mixture of Bruce Lee and Michael Jackson.
Yes, totally.
The main character.
No, and that
And
was the
show-
thing
show
about
enough,
it
show
is that
enough,
it
show
wasn't
enough,
like
yeah.
it wasn't like a
Exactly.
black exploitation film. It really was like showing that each culture is just they're like normal people. They get into things that are from other cultures, and it's just it
Yeah.
mixed culture, and it just made it seem so like awesome. and stop trying to separate.
Bruce
I'm like,
Leroy.
It would be
Bruce Leroy. That's
Leroy,
awesome.
And he wore the little hats and he wore the gi and everything. And he ate.
Who's your master?
He ate his popcorn with chopsticks in the movie when they're in the theater. He's
And how
watching
he
Bruce
talked.
Leroy.
He was such
Popcorn
a
with chop-
sensei when he talked.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good. What's the
It's
song?
ridiculous.
What's the song where he starts to actually glow and everything? You got the glow. Like, how's the song go?
You are the last dragon.
There you go.
It's basically like the Neverending Story song.
But I think it came out before Neverending Story. I think by like a year or so. Oh, it's
I
just
love it.
yeah. So
I
mean,
wonder which one they're gonna.
This is
I
the
guess
fi-
it would be that the tomorrow In Search of Tomorrow
but
would
we have
probably be
Neverending
Neverending
Story,
I
maybe
guess.
unless
That's
they
more-
do fantasy things with like Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, and they do another whole.
See,
They're
now
doing a
that
series.
This guy
It's coming out soon.
Has just
Did you-
opened a
Yeah,
whole
Dark,
thing.
On
Dark
Netflix.
Crystal. Yeah,
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Dark Crystal's on Netflix, and I think the series is coming out on Netflix.
Are they gonna break? Are they gonna remake Neverending Story? How would you guys
Maybe.
feel about that if they did
They
that?
just.
I would love to see it. Talking about
Really?
this is great. Let me tell you why. Because
What if
I would
Michael
love
Bay
someone to
directed it?
remake. Here's why I want people to keep trying. This is the only reason why I want people to keep trying to remake those films.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because I want them to bring that feeling. Like we just talking about The Last Dragon, and I started singing the song. I getting it. There was so much feeling in the films in the 80s. There was such emotional connection to them. They were so fun. They were so distracting from reality, and it was just amazing. And for someone to bring those film back and be able to do that, bring back those emotions
Yeah.
too, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I think since I'm so connected to the never-ending story, I would love for someone to do that. I think they were trying to redo
Yeah.
it, but I think that
They
project got
just
stopped.
announced they're remaking Home Alone for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm good. But also
Really?
they also announced
So,
and
like,
cast Lady and the Tramp live action. I don't know.
Is this legitimate?
Yeah, it's real. It's exclusive.
So they're not going to do CG dogs. They're just going to do live action dogs.
yeah, I don't know how they're doing it exactly because most of them are humans in the film, and then you have the dogs, right? There's humans in the film, aren't there? And
No,
then you
not
have the
most of
dogs.
them are humans. They're mostly Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah.
It's
They might
mostly
do
the
it like
dogs
Yeah,
that.
you're right,
and,
you're
like,
right.
They might do it like
back
that old
alleys.
film Milo and Otis.
Yeah. Oh,
Doesn't
yeah,
it take
I
place in
remember Milo
England
Notice,
or
yeah.
something?
Yeah, or Paris or something like that. But
You know,
anyway,
I understand what Disney's doing. They're a business. They're trying to make money. They have these properties that everyone has loved, and
Yeah.
they've done this thing where they release them for like 1 year every 10 years.
Right.
They give everyone access for a year, and then they put it in the vault. And now they're like, fuck it, we'll just remake all this shit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Why do the vault thing when everyone now owns digital copies?
creates
and-
value.
Yeah. So
Creative
now they're
value
creating
for them.
demand with new, a whole new thing.
yep.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like
I'm
these
excited.
in search of action and hopefully they're done well. But the point is, even if not done well, if you contact enough of those people and do those interviews, you
Yeah.
can let them do the talking for you. And I'd watch those documentaries, and I hope they're all like 3 hours because there's a lot to cover.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
They're never going to
Well-
cover everything.
Yeah.
Like another film that I didn't see in there is Adventures of Babysitting.
That was not really action.
It's action.
No.
Enough.
That's as action as like
It's adventure.
Ferris Bueller's
It's
Day
adventure.
Off, because it's in the title. It's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
It's a-
You wouldn't say that's action just because they're on an adventure for the day in the city, you know.
I wanted to be in there, Nick.
Okay, it's not
All right.
really
Can
action.
we just
though.
leave it at that?
Thor
So-
doesn't actually ever show up, even though they
He
keep
does.
hinting. No, she runs into the guy that's
potentially
Vincent D'Onofrio.
You can't say no or yes.
No, he doesn't. That's what's disappointing.
No,
about
you
that
can't
film.
say no or yes because the girl still thinks he does. They never officially say he's Thor or not.
but
That's
she's-
the whole thing of the film. Is that's just that was a question within the film that never got answered.
That girl dropped acid off screen, okay, and then that's really what the movie's about. This little girl who's like 9 years old with a goddamn hallucinogenic problem.
well, so it does say on their.
I wonder if
Indiegogo-
D'Onofrio said to what's his name while making Marvel films, I was the very first Thor.
Yeah. Well, because he did Daredevil the show on Netflix. He wasn't in the movies. Vincent D'Onofrio, but yeah, good try.
So it says there.
No, he didn't. No, I'm saying he.
He was in the show on Netflix, which had nothing to do with the movies.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is weird. So it says they had a Kickstarter
Yeah.
for In Search of Darkness, and
Yeah.
then somehow they ended up on Indiegogo. I don't know what the difference is. I don't understand this whole thing.
They're just different platforms.
Well, maybe Kickstarter they did like a 30-day
Yeah,
thing
probably.
to raise a
They
certain.
probably
number
just
of
switched
money.
it because they found out that the Indiegogo there's an endless.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can do
which
like a
is-
stretch goal thing.
stretch
Yeah.
goal.
Because
yeah,
on this you can
exactly.
still reserve the movie, but it does say they have a 3-hour plus extended cut.
Already done?
So it says they have a theatrical cut, which is going to be 90 plus minutes, and then they're going to release an extended cut with all like the interviews.
That's
like,
the one I'm
uncut.
watching.
Yeah, I'm like, that's the one that I would want to watch. Just looking at like all the people they interview, like this looks like it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's, if you just took John Carpenter, honestly, if you just took John Carpenter for 3 hours and interviewed him on every fucking film he made, I would watch that. I would pay to see that.
100%. It's like that Brian De Palma.
Oh, yeah.
Documentary. You ever see that? Yeah, it's just called De Palma, and it literally is just him talking about every movie chronologically. That's all it is. Him sitting in a chair talking about his movies. Nobody else talks. Nothing else. It's just his voice talking about the movies.
There's no one asking him questions to
You don't hear them.
prompt?
They
Well,
pro-
yeah,
they
I mean,
probably
a lot of
did.
times you don't hear
Yeah,
the
but I'm
interviewer,
just saying
but-
it's just him talking about his movies in chronological order. So I'm sure somebody prompted him for each
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
and then he just talks. But that's all it is.
I've seen a couple really good documentaries that have come out that are kind of like fan-made documentaries.
Yeah.
Like there was one that I saw on like Star Wars, and the whole documentary was essentially about the controversy over George Lucas altering the original Star Wars films
With digital effects and
with
stuff.
digital effects, and then he apparently pulled he refused to release like an untouched version of Star Wars because to him that movie's garbage, and that the only way to release it was the modified version.
Yeah,
And
they
to
weren't
him, that's
releasing
how
the
it should
original
have been.
theatrical versions anymore. The
Yes,
original
but all
home-
this whole generation is like, well, that's the one I saw, and that's the one I fell in love with, the garbage version
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the stormtrooper bangs his head into shit, and like there's just bad.
He always left
scenes
that in,
and
though.
stuff.
He never took that out.
Yeah.
The head knocking thing.
Yeah.
He actually added a sound effect to it.
I guess it's like the special effects is what he was
Yeah.
unhappy with
Yeah.
on certain special effects, and that's what
Right.
he really changed, and he added like some CG
And
backgrounds and
CG creatures like in the foreground and stuff
and
like
the
that.
whole Jabba the Hutt thing with
Yeah.
with Han Solo
Yeah,
or whatever.
which I thought looked good back when I saw it in the 90s when that was
Especially when
released,
he
but it's
stepped on
not
his
good-
tail
and
and,
his eyes
his-
go inverted. Yeah.
That was hokey. But anyway, like the whole documentary is about that.
Yeah.
And they go around the world and interview like all these people talking about like why George Lucas will not release the raw, unedited, stuff. And then apparently LucasArts claimed they lost the actual originals. And he's like, but that doesn't make any sense because they had to remaster it so that they could then add special effects to modify it. So they must have a digital version stored somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we destroyed the original negatives.
Cut to 20 years ago.
Well,
and
it's all bullshit.
George,
He
George
just
Lucas
doesn't-
burning them as like just so they can never ask for them.
Yeah, and then they're like, basically, we have to wait for him to die, and then
Yeah.
like,
Well, he doesn't own
get
it
someone to
anymore.
release it. Well,
He
now he
doesn't own it.
doesn't, but I don't know if Disney. Well,
Disney
Disney
won't
did
give-
announce they're going to release the original trilogy on like Blu-ray again.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
No,
if
they're
they-
doing the whole thing.
They're gonna
they're doing like
They're doing
all
the
the
whole
original
thing.
plus.
No, I think they're doing the whole.
They're gonna
collection.
give the audience what they want.
Yeah.
I think they will.
But I don't think they're going to like
I bet they'll do
release
the
an
original one.
an original unedited version. I don't think
It would
they'll
be a
do
very
that.
no, because they have Disney Plus now. What they do is they release it right on there, and it's even more
No, but people
reason
want
for people to
physical
go.
copies.
I
not
know,
like
but people
just to
want
stream it.
No, people want to be able to see them. No, that's the problem that people were kept saying is there was no place to find them to even watch them.
Yeah.
People wanted to see. Yeah, that was the problem. People
No, on
couldn't-
VHS. VHS did. They had a version of it on
What I'm
VHS.
saying-
That's the only version that exists where it's like unedited.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's very hard to find it because
Yeah.
you need to have that version, and you have to have it from the early 90s or earlier. VHS copies. It's a pain in the ass, especially in today when you don't have VHS. But they want a place to watch those movies unedited, untouched, and they haven't. And they would like to see it remastered, I'm sure, but they don't want the scenes changed and digital effects added. So Disney, if they're smart, puts that on their Disney Plus as
Yeah.
another reason for people to come and sign up for that service. Because they can. It takes nothing. They have the versions. They can get it remastered, cleaned up if it has never been, and then just put it on the platform.
That's all. I feel like it. I mean, it's fine if they did that, but I would want a physical copy.
You realize in 20 years, your physical copies are going to be fucking dick when they're no longer creating Blu-ray players and stuff like that, right?
Dude, what do you mean? Like,
Old man?
when the internet collapses
You'll be like
and all
60
you
too.
guys got rid of all your physical copies, and I'll be the only one watching movies while everybody's like, oh, you got rid
You're
of
always
everything
on
because
this
I relied so highly
This
on
guy's
technology.
always on this narrative. You're the most jacked-in, plugged-in person I've ever met.
what are you
You're
talking-
basically the
No, I'm
Matrix
not.
personified. Okay?
No, I'm not.
You're Agent Smith.
Dude, I
okay?
own more like so many movies. Like as you own a lot of
I do,
DVDs.
I do.
I don't own a lot.
You don't?
I'm very selective of which ones I buy.
Dude, I went on when DVD first came out, I just bought like 10, 15 DVDs
I don't even
every
buy.
week.
I don't even buy the ones I truly like.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I
if
mean, some of them I
I'll
do.
buy a
Blu-ray, I
movie.
buy them
Like I have
Blu-ray.
Aliens.
Yeah,
I have the Aliens.
I started to buy
trilogy.
things recently on Blu-ray.
I have to go
older
to-
movies like
Yeah.
Most of my
I bought
collection is
Brainstorm
DVDs.
recently.
Yeah, most of
on
my
Blu-ray
collection is
'cause it was just
DVDs,
released.
Yeah.
and it's a problem because I got the big 65-inch fucking, and they don't play properly on there. Like they just.
Well, you have those weird formatted ones where it's like they cut the letterbox left and
no,
right.
not
side
all of them.
and-
Even my widescreen ones do not fit my 65-inch screen. It fucking sucks.
See, you've been you've been tainted by this guy because
Oh,
I'll
are
show
you
up
talking
and I'll
about
be
you
like,
have the black
we
bar
can't
around
watch
it?
this. We're gonna have to pay to get the HD
That's
version.
it. I've literally, we're sitting there, I'm trying to show you a movie or something like that, and you're like, I can't, and I have to pay $5 to fucking show it to you.
I'm
'cause
like,
you're
dude,
goddamn
just add it on your Amazon Prime,
fucking
man. We'll
prima
just watch
donna
it.
over here.
Are you talking about you have the black bar
But-
around it?
No, I have. It doesn't actually fit the screen. Even my widescreen DVDs don't fit the 65-inch. I don't know exactly why.
It's because they-
and you have-
one bit. Yeah, it's a black bar, but it's all around all of it because
Yeah,
the widescreen
exact-
only goes so far, and if I stretch it, it stretches the image. It doesn't.
No,
look right.
there's some TVs. I don't know if yours might have this. There's a zoom.
Yeah, no, I have it, but
Do you?
but that's not it's not proper. Then it doesn't look right. I have it. I have the zoom thing.
So,
I have the
what it
stretch
is
to
is
fit
the-
screen thing.
the
I can
DVD
do it. It's just
The file itself, the video
Yeah.
file,
It's
if
too
you
small.
took that raw file out, it's like a 4:3 aspect ratio,
Yeah.
but it's a letterbox. So you're getting the black and
No,
the
that's
black
not
on the
what
top
you
and the
get.
bottom, and it's a 4:3. But on a lot of them that are widescreen DVDs, it's actually the resolution of the file itself is widescreen. There
Yeah.
are no black boxes on. That's why it fills your whole screen. Because if you rip a DVD, you can see the raw file, and I don't know why the hell they did this, but they did this early on with
Yeah.
widescreen, where they formatted the file.
It was a fake
with black.
widescreen?
It was like no, it was, but it was like you had the black and
but
the
it's still
top and bottom.
4:3. You're saying
Yeah, it's
so
still a 4:3 aspect ratio because you're watching widescreen on a 4:3 TV.
That is true. It used to be like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they
All
didn't
right.
have widescreen. It was the end of CRTs that they started to release
Yeah.
widescreen CRTs.
Okay. So before we actually run out of time, let's just really quick talk about the third one, which is In Search of Tomorrow, which
Yes.
is all
Yeah.
sci-fi stuff. And then when you told me about these, I was like, that's the one I'm probably going to be least interested in. Then I watched the
one I'm
goddamn
gonna-
trailer
Yeah,
on YouTube.
you forgot.
And it's Back to the Future.
Forgot,
It's
son.
like Back to the Future really was what got me, but Ghostbusters and
Aliens.
Flight of the Navigator,
RoboCop.
and Enemy Within, and
yeah.
Aliens, and RoboCop, and what else was in there? What else was in there?
Odyssey,
Explorers,
Explorers, the Last Starfighter,
The Last Starfighter.
E.T.
Yeah, I didn't see Alien Nation in there, which I was surprised.
Oh, it was. There's one
Really
clip where they
quick?
show alien like the
Okay,
face.
I wanna
in
rewatch
Alien
it. I had
Nation.
no
I need
idea
to buy
Mi-
that. That's my next
Alien
Blu-ray.
Nation?
No, V.
Oh, V.
yeah,
I've
V,
never
the
seen
mo-
that.
Well, it was the miniseries.
The miniseries.
I don't
I
know
wanna
what
buy the
came
miniseries.
first. Was it the movie or the miniseries?
The movie came first, then the miniseries came after that.
Okay, and then they did
I
the
wanna buy the
modern
miniseries.
miniseries or the modern series.
Yeah,
and then
which
it got
didn't do so well.
canceled.
Yeah.
But that original '80s shit was crazy.
I love the miniseries.
It was like it was like a Twilight Zone. Like
loved
the
it.
aliens show
Do you-
up and they're like humanoid, and then the chick like stumbles, like, is on their ship, and they're like bringing all these humans onto their
Yeah.
alien spaceship
They're-
to cure their
they're
cancer or
reptiles.
something.
Oh my
No, and then you see a human like bite the head off of a rat, and she sees it in some back
It's
room, and she's like,
crazy.
"What the fuck?" And then his skin,
Crazy.
his skin like peels off, and it's like a reptile underneath.
No,
the
that's when she
skin.
attacks. Like when she gets attacked and something, and when she
Yeah.
grabs his face, she peels it off, and she see they're reptiles.
Yeah, but
It
like the
was
whole
crazy.
planet is like snowed. Like there's only a small few of this like resistance that starts to build that knows that they're like
Yeah.
reptiles that are trying to essentially eat humans, but they're pretending to like cure diseases and shit when it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
fucking bullshit.
They are like we're
You
friends.
need to
and
watch it,
everything.
dude. If you've never
It's
seen
crazy
it,
awesome.
it's actually so good.
I know it was. They made a show out of it too, right?
It holds up,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Alienation was a movie. It was a
Alienation was a
standalone
movie.
movie, and then like
Yep.
100
With
episodes.
James Caan. I
or
had no
whatever
idea
came
Manny
later.
Patinkin played
Yeah,
the main
and
alien.
Inigo
So
Montoya.
you
Does
know,
not even look like him.
No, it doesn't.
so
at
you
all.
do know that they are working on bringing back the series
Alienation.
Alienation.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Which that's super
I really
interesting.
enjoyed the series and the movie.
Yeah.
I liked both of them.
yeah.
But the and just everything they had in that trailer, I was like yes.
Yeah.
And I really that's what they keep. All three trailers, they just cover the shit out of all these movies that I grew up with and they were a part of my childhood. So I'm like, damn, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in.
It's funny. on
Basically,
there-
what these trailers did is like punch you in the face, and you get this startled reaction.
And I love
like
being punched in
what
the
just
Oh,
happened.
you're like, shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yes,
the whole purpose.
exactly.
Of going to
Please, sir, may I
Indiegogo.
have another? You know?
Basically, the advertisement, we all fell for it. It's here. We're all planning to watch each and every one. Even the one Nick didn't think he was going to fall for, he fell for it
Yep.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tron was in there. Yeah. I was
Tron-
like, oh man,
oh
just
my
everything.
gosh.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm down.
Exactly.
I
Take
just
my
want to
fucking
see if
money.
there's any Did you find anything on In Search of Tomorrow on the Indiegogo?
No, there's
Maybe that's the next campaign.
yeah, they're definitely doing it, but it seems like that's like they're doing the other ones for. I mean, there's the poster and the trailer for the trailer for it, which you can find all these on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah.
You can watch all of them. In Search of Darkness, In Search of the Last Action Heroes, and In Search of Tomorrow.
Correct.
And yeah, they seem like there's definitely something done with all of them, but In Search of Tomorrow didn't have any interviews.
They might be pulling
didn't
up
see
what
it.
everybody
so-
do is like the
I think In Search of It Tomorrow, they just released that teaser to kind of
Exactly.
announce that they're doing it.
Okay.
But the on the
Good.
update for the Indiegogo for In Search of the Last Action Hero, apparently they've already
Heroes.
shown like cuts for the film. So they must have already interviewed whoever
Yeah.
they want to interview.
For
But
Tomorrow or for Heroes?
no, for the Last
Heroes.
Action Hero. In
Heroes.
Search
Right.
of the
Okay,
Last
so yeah,
Action Hero.
those ones are further along.
yeah.
Um,
So that's their next project. They're probably finalizing the first project, which is the horror one, and they already started and getting ready to finish.
yeah, Predator was in there. Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those are sci-fi. You don't
Yeah.
need to kind of like get out of that.
They Live.
They
had
Live,
Keith
yeah.
David,
Which
who's
was
in They
also
Live and in The
in the
Thing.
yeah.
and-
That's great.
So there's a lot of films in here. When I say
Yeah.
a lot of films,
Terminator.
there's a lot of films in here.
Yeah.
Obviously, they came and stopped naming the
The
films.
Abyss. The Abyss was in there. In Search of
Anything else,
Tomorrow.
Nick?
Yeah, In Search of Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, The Abyss. I'm just done. It's
All right.
great.
You're not done.
Total
I wanna
Recall.
say that-
Hopefully,
Yeah,
no,
see,
it's
like I
great.
told you weren't done.
On the Indiegogo, whatever,
Yeah.
they have just all these
Yeah.
like they apparently showed like a group of the backers, like
Gremlins,
a 4-hour version of the documentary or something, and
Yeah.
these people
Yeah.
are just like,
You guys won't stop, will you?
I'm done. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
This is why I put my phone down because you can't
Run,
stop.
Running
so.
Man. Running Man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us here at Get to the Movies. That's Get to the Movies with the number 2. My name is Tiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
and I'm Neil Carson.
Do a song. What's the over the top song? That's not in. It's not in any of these movies. What's the Last Dragon? We already did that
You
one.
are the last dragon.
Oh,
There you
you're
go.
talking about the other one that's like the feel the beat of the
Rhythm
rhythm
of
of the
the
night.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.